Hi, Pixies. Oh my god. Welcome back to the Hollow, and today I am doing something a little more creative. So in the background currently is footage of me creating a sim that looks like Aphmau from the Aphmau series. If you've been here for a long time, you know I started my channel on making Aphmau related content. So I thought this was going to be a fun throwback, and the reason why I decided to do a throwback video is because this video is very special, because this is my 200 subscribers special. That's right, 200 subscribers. I didn't know I could ever get to that point. Thank you so much for everybody who subscribed and has stuck around for longer or shorter. I know it's been like a roller coaster, and I've changed my content so much since I started it. And I just wanted to say thank you. I very much appreciate it. And I thought, why not throw it back to making some more Aphmau related content? So I have a create a sim here, and I'm also going to give you guys my theory on Mystreet and Diaries and how they kind of, in my mind, how they mesh together and how the story ends and stuff. It's kind of crazy. If you haven't seen Mystreet season 6 or any Mystreet episode for that matter, or you haven't seen Diaries, I highly recommend just skipping out on this next portion of the video because, well, it's going to be spoiler heavy. And with that, we continue. If there is parts of this video that don't contain a theory, I will put that in the description box below, that timestamp where you can skip ahead. And without further ado, let's just get into it. So my first theory is about the sword in Mystreet season 6. So if you haven't seen Diaries at all, well, if you shouldn't be seen Diaries at all, you probably should not be watching this because this is going to be a big spoiler. But if you haven't seen Diaries, Aaron dies. And when Aaron dies in Diaries, he had this big purple sword. And if you remember in Mystreet season 6, that big purple sword Aaron ended up with it again. And also it was like that werewolf sword that it had this poison on it, and any werewolf that like got cut with it would immediately die. Like there's no recovery. My theory on that sword, based off of something that Michael says later, where the Guardian Forces and Rangers were like, hey, are we gonna look for that sword he had? And Michael's like, no, she already took it back. I think he was referring to Lady Irene. See, when Aaron died, Aphmau took Aaron's sword and she uses it now. And when she took Aaron's, and since in Diaries, if you remember, Aphmau was being hunted by King Fenner after the massacre at her and King Fenner's wedding, after King Fenner's dad tried to force King Fenner and Aphmau into a forced marriage in order to bring peace between Mayflaws and humans, even though Aphmau wasn't actually a Mayflaw, but she was cursed to look like a Mayflaw. So I think that Aphmau, because King Fenner was on the hunt to kill Aphmau, if you remember, or marry her, whatever one made her suffer more. And I think that Aphmau turned Aaron's sword into a werewolf sword so she could kill King Fenner and whatever werewolves were after her. So in the Diaries universe, Blaze dies twice. That in my mind, Blaze dies a second time because he was like the most like advocate about it, you know. He was like the most like, yeah, this is gonna happen. She killed us. She's the home wrecker, you know. So I think that Blaze, in my mind, Blaze dies twice, which is so sad. But I think that that's what happens. I think she turns Aaron's sword into a werewolf sword so she can kill King Fenner, which I'm genius, okay? Really genius. Anyway, next theory is about how the Irene story goes. So if you remember in Diaries, the Irene story is that Lady Irene was tired of living. So not tired of living. She had been living for so long. She watched all her friends die, come back. It was emotional for her. She couldn't deal with it. So she decided to take her own relic and go to sleep. And then Aphmau was then reborn into the world. I think what happens is when Aphmau comes time for her to like go to sleep, instead of just taking the relic, because if you remember, it was a lot of issues where Zane was trying to find the relic that was just in one piece, just sitting there in the Irene dimension. If you could get there, you could take it and just have it. I think that Aphmau was, when it was her time, she decided to take the relic and smash it into 3 pieces, which is why I think Michael says, you're one of the 3 pieces of her broken soul. I don't think Aphmau was just 1 piece, though, because she was able to wield relic. She had the wings. She was able to fight. She was able to hold her own. And Irene, if you remember, she was very weak because she could only help Aaron so many times before dying. I think that Irene split her soul into 3 pieces and gave Aphmau 2 out of the 3 pieces, and she kept 1 for herself, and she had some powers too, which is why she was only able to intervene a little bit. I think that that's how that works. I think that she split it into 3 pieces so it could be evenly dispersed into the universe. I don't know. That makes sense to me because Aphmau was able to do so much more than the actual Lady Irene was. I think that that's what that is. I think this next little bit is not really a theory, but I was just making this observation that the demon warlock was in Diaries and in Mystreet, and I feel like barely anybody really talked about that. Like when I was scrolling through comments and looking for people, no one mentions that. Like everyone's like, oh, whoa, this demon warlock seems crazy. The demon warlock was in Diaries. Like he was Travis's father in Diaries. In fact, he was Travis's father in Mystreet. Why did nobody mention this? I've seen nobody talk about that. Why doesn't anybody talk about that? Okay, this next thing is also kind of an observation, and that is the fact that, Travis in Mystreet is so unserious, and in Diaries he was also kind of unserious at some points, but he knew when to be serious. He knew how to sword fight. He wasn't a weakling. At least he wasn't painted to be a weakling. But in Mystreet, he's painted to be this weak, little, he's basically painted to be the weak, funny, lighthearted character. And I don't know if I mean, I like it because it's, Diaries wasn't, there was a lot of bad things that happened in Diaries. But, I don't know, it makes me kind of sad that he doesn't really have a serious side, at all. That's gonna be it for this video. I forgot the other theory I wanted to talk about, but if I remember it, I'll probably make another separate video about it and go into even more depth and detail. If you guys want this Aphmau sim, you can download her. My origin tag is pixie_uwu, and if you want me to make more, I will be happy to do so. And with that, I think that's the end of this video. Please sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. I post videos whenever I can. And I have a few more Aphmau related videos, so if you want to see that, please let me know in the comments down below. I love you guys so much, and thank you guys so much for this video, and thank you guys so much again for 200 subscribers. This is a big milestone for me. And with that, that is the end of the video. Goodbye.